Today I'm going to turn this into an illustration of a windmill concept that I've had locked away in a file for about 7-8 years now, and I just don't see that it's a wise thing to keep something like this to myself. So we're going to see what we can do with this. It's about 8 o'clock in the morning. Hey, I found a use for rap CDs that doesn't involve destroying the mentality of everybody's children. See if I can make some turbine blades out of this. One of the good things about these VCR heads is that they're already lined out. A lot of these little holes and stuff are directly at 90 degrees, and I was able to put my spring holes drilled at exactly the same point. There's circumference lines going all the way around it. These are really sturdy, stable bearings. Every time I see an old VCR, I definitely go for it. It's about 11:30 at night. I haven't been working on this the whole time, but been letting glue dry and all that. It's getting there. Here's my wrap CD blades. It worked out pretty good. It's about 2 in the morning. I'm going to cut these here off. I rarely measure stuff when I'm building stuff like this. And here is the propeller assembly. I'm using rubber bands instead of cams. Now I am going to have to tweak these. Hopefully it'll work. So far they're not working quite right, but I'm headed in the right direction. Okay, it's about 3 in the morning or so, maybe later. I'm not sure it matters at this point. I got my regular Walmart fan running here, and the device is halfway finished. It's already, as you can see, it's working quite well already. The rubber bands are not dialed in. I'll get it to stop for a second so you can look at it. As you can see, these blades are not going back to the position I want. I want it right at 90-degree angles. So what I'm going to do is put a stop arm in there and then put a lot more tension in these rubber bands. But even though this device is not put together very well and it is poorly constructed, the concept works extremely well for using wind energy. Basically, let me give you a description of what's happening here. These blades are articulating by the use of a cam, and that articulation causes a diametrically opposite force imbalance due to the aerodynamic properties of the blade orientation, and that generates the rotation that you can use to create power. The difference between this windmill and anything that I've seen so far, I'm not saying I'm the inventor of this, but I haven't seen anything quite like it yet, is that it uses the flat surface as a driving mechanism. On one side, the blades will always stay flat towards the wind, and on the other side, they're always cutting through it. So this little flat area of the cam, where the cam is gone, is going to be parallel to the angle of attack. So I'm going to hold it in the fan here. And like I said, even though it's not constructed very well at all, it works pretty good. Well, not so good, but you get the idea how well a device like this of size might work. As far as torque, it doesn't really have much torque right now. If I were to increase the surface area of the blades, I'd probably get a far better response. I may do that. I'm going to tweak this thing out. I'm going to put more tension in them rubber bands so that the blades stay flat. I don't know if you can see what I'm talking about, but the blades not staying flat. See how this isn't like this? They're just not staying the way I want them to. So, despite that, it still works pretty good. I have a bunch of different ramifications for this. I would never build a large model like this. I would use a cam system with no springs probably. The only reason I did it this way is because the time required to build an elaborate cam setup just was far beyond my patience and possibly my skill. very important that you hold the angle of attack, this area here, directly parallel with the wind, or else it inhibits performance. I'm going to put the whole thing on a rotator tray. And also the cam setup I have is extremely impactive. It's not a gradual incident. I don't know if you can see any of that cam action taking place. Basically the blades are just smacking into this bar and rotating flat ways. And the rubber band's pulling the blade back to a flat position, opposing the wind on the other side. Doesn't have a whole lot of torque at all at this point, but I think if I make the wings a little bit bigger, fix this cam up and fix these rubber bands, I might have a little bit better of a demo model for you. I'm going to go ahead and post this just in case anyone decides they want to try that out. I definitely think this is a far more powerful way of using the wind. I don't like the way the traditional propellers work. I mean, they're okay, but they just have so many limitations. And the fact that they have devices like furlough speed systems and all that just disgusts me. The fact that you'd want to shut the device down because it's spinning too fast just ain't jiving with me. I want something that can use everything the wind's got. So if you built a small windmill like this, it could withstand everything the wind could throw at it. And it'd be able to use all of that power. In order for traditional windmill systems to be cost effective, they got to be so huge that they got to turn themselves off in high winds and miss out on the best chances of getting a lot of energy. So anyway, there it is. There's a, I guess that's a horizontal windmill. Or would that be vertical? I don't know anything about windmills, so I'm basically posting this to see what some of your guys' comments are. I get a lot of good feedback. If you know that this has been invented by someone else, let me know that too. It'd be interesting to see what the other guys got going on. But can you imagine how much force this thing would generate if these were the size of roof sheeting, like a 4-foot by 8-foot piece of plywood? This thing would generate so much power off just a little bit of wind. I got the idea when I was carrying a sheet of plywood on a roof one day. We were building a house and wind, and I just remember thinking if only you could harness that aspect of the wind force. Okay, enough of that. I'm going to put this video together and I'm going to post it, and then I'm going to modify this thing, tweak it out a little bit, put some bigger, get some more wrap CDs to tear up, and make some bigger blades there. But I'm just surprised that the thing works, even constructed so hastily. I mean, I put this together in a day, and I didn't spend hardly any of the day doing it. I had to stop here and there. Okay. Just so we're all clear on what's going on here, this is the direction this thing would be facing into the wind. And we're going to use a cam to ensure that no matter what, this side always has a flat surface facing the wind, giving us our thrust. This side is always going to be cutting through the wind. A large portion of it will be cutting through. Almost all of it, actually. You only want just one little sector to have the blade in that direction. Hopefully when I modify this, I'll have a better video. I intend to get to work on this right away, or fall asleep, one or the other.